friends, I'm back in my normal spot. I don't know how long this is going to last because I can't film in here when my child is doing school in the other room. But I timed it perfectly today. So here I am, and I'm here with the third part of my October horror movie marathon thing. Is that what I'm calling it? I know I'm a couple days late with this, but let me find what I watched so I can tell you about it. So I think the last thing I talked about was Get Out, right? On the 11th of October, I watched 28 Days Later. This is a movie I've seen a lot, but it has been a couple years since the last time I watched it. I watched it a lot when it first came out, and it's been a couple years. It came out in 2002, so it's pretty old by now, actually. It's almost, oh my god, can you guys believe that movie is 18 years old? What the fuck? Is that really that old? I'm shaking. So this is a zombie apocalypse movie, basically, but the zombies aren't your typical zombie virus zombies. They've actually been infected by rage, and so these zombies are very fast, or these infected people, I guess, are very fast, very aggressive, but they have, you know, the same zombie-like qualities where the infection itself comes on very quickly and is transmitted through like bodily fluids or bites and stuff like that. So this movie basically begins when we find the main character, and he's woken up in the hospital. He had been in a coma, and so he slept through like the initial outbreak, or I don't know, sleep, that's not right. He was in a coma for the initial outbreak, and he wakes up and he's like, where the fuck is everybody? And he has a little bit of a rude awakening. Yeah, I mean, he meets some friends along the way. They're trying to get somewhere. It kind of has that typical like apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic plot line. But I still like it a lot. I think the acting in this movie is great. The zombies are great. The special effects are great. There's a lot of hard choices that the characters have to make. And I really like this movie. I'm glad that I rewatched it. The next day, I watched the sequel to this, which is called 28 Weeks Later. And I think I've only seen... It is also a rewatch for me. But I haven't seen that nearly as many times as the first movie. 28 Weeks Later came out in 2007. So this takes place, and I guess I should have said with 28 Days Later that the main character wakes up after like the 20th day of the outbreak. This takes place 28 weeks after the outbreak, so society's starting to rebuild itself, and they think that they've effectively wiped out the virus. Most of the infected have starved, and that's really the plot. They find somebody that they think might have a genetic mutation that makes them immune to the effects of the virus, but can still spread the virus. So that's kind of tricky. And it also really follows the plot line where it's a group of people. They're trying to get somewhere safe. That's it. I really like this one as well, though. Remember when I first watched it, I really did not like the ending. But after rewatching it, now that I'm a little bit older, I can really appreciate it. And I really like the plot in this one. I like the characters. It's bleak, and I think it's just as good as the first one. Okay, so on the 13th of October, I watched Friday the 13th, the original, which came out in 1980. I did not realize that this had Kevin Bacon in it. It's been a long time since I watched this. I probably watched this when I was maybe like 10 years old. I really am not the biggest fan of slasher films, which I know is kind of like, is that okay for me to say that out loud? Are people gonna come with their pitchforks and, I don't know, like burn a knife into my lawn? But this This one was good, and I can see why people liked it so much. It is so weird, because, okay, hold on. Let me tell you a little bit about the plot of this film. So, it takes place, is it just called Camp Crystal Lake? I don't know, it doesn't say in the little summary right there, but I think it's just called Camp Crystal Lake. And it had been previously shut down for probably like 5 years around then. Not like a super long time, but enough time, I guess, because in the past, some of the counselors were getting a little bit touchy-feely with each other and not watching the campers. And one of the campers, his name was Jason Voorhees, he drowns in the lake, so the camp is closed down. But where we come in, it's a couple years later, and they're trying to get the camp up and running again. So the man who bought and owns the camp now, he hires some counselors, and there are not any campers yet. It is only the camp counselors, like these teenagers, maybe like 17, 18, 19-year-olds, and they're helping fix the place up so that there can be campers. And somebody starts killing them. And I think this one is so great. It's a fairly typical slasher. Some of the deaths are pretty good for a slasher flick. For a slasher flick. But where it really got good for me was the ending, was the reveal, was who finding out who the killer is. Like, that's the best part in this movie, I think. And it's just so well done. The actor for that character is so good. And I just really like this one a lot. I also think it's just so unique considering where this franchise of Friday the 13th went. You know, because if you look at similar ones, like if you look at the Child's Play series, that character, the like icon, is front and center, and that's not necessarily the case with the first Friday the 13th movie. So I thought that was really interesting. That's enough about that movie though. It's a good one. If you haven't watched it, I think you should. The next movie I watched on the 14th, I was planning on watching, what was that? Was that the night I was supposed to, Oh, I was going to watch Tales from the Hood. Originally, that's what I had planned on doing, but I could only find it for rent, and I didn't want to rent something, so I was looking on Shudder to see what they have, and I came across a movie called Spiral, which came out last year in 2019, and this is about a gay couple who moves into like this really cool, it's like, I don't know, almost like mid-century modern architecture. But that doesn't matter. They move it into this house together, and it's a small town, and the townsfolk are, something seems a little bit off about them, but I don't know. It's hard. It's so hard to tell. And we're following basically the point of view of one of the guys. His name is Malik, and he's a little bit younger than his partner, and he is working on writing a book. And so his partner is the one supporting them right now and like funding this move and all this stuff. So there's a little bit of tension there, and things get even more tense when Malik starts to think that there's something weird going on with their neighbors. And gosh, what's his partner's name? His partner Aaron thinks that Malik is kind of exaggerating things in his mind because of some trauma he's had in his past with him being gay. And it's really one of those movies where you don't know, like, this character doesn't know if what's happening is real, and also you don't know because, like, you're right there with him, and it's like, I see these things happening to him. How can you be telling me that this might not be happening? You know, and I ended up really liking this a lot. I thought it was great. It was very weird, and it has a very troubling ending, and it was great. I loved it. So the last movie I want to tell you about today, I also watched on Shudder. This is called La Llorona, but it's not the one that is connected to the Conjuring franchise. This one came out in 2019, and it takes place in Guatemala. So this is all in subtitles, if that bothers you. And I think that this is probably the first, like, movie that I didn't really like so far, which is a pretty great record, I think. I didn't have such good luck last year, but this is about, oh man, and I feel weird saying that I don't like this movie because it deals with such a really heavy, important topic. But I will just say, I guess, that I don't think that this was a horror movie. I don't think that this was good as a horror movie. This starts out and you're following this family, and the patriarch of the family, the father and the grandfather, has just been convicted for being a war criminal. He was a general in the military, and he helped slaughter a bunch of indigenous Mayans. So, like, he committed genocide, basically. And so things are really tense, like, in the household. During this whole thing, they're kind of a wealthy family, and they have some maids and women who help out around the house, and most of them have left because of this. Like, it's just dangerous for them to come work at this house now because there are, like, protests outside of the house and people picketing and things like that. So a bunch of their staff leaves, and a new woman comes to work for them. And the general starts to think that maybe she is the spirit of a woman that he murdered. But I have to say, like, besides that part of, like, the woman being a spirit maybe, there aren't really very many, like, horror elements. Like, I guess there are the real life horrible elements of this man murdering families for no reason and committing genocide. But as far as, like, this woman coming into the home, I did not find anything spooky about it. So I don't know. I guess that's all I have to say about that one. And like I said, I don't really know how to express this without kind of, like, brushing off the fact that, like, this stuff happens everywhere, apparently. And so I don't know. I guess I'll leave that at that. Those are the 5 movies I watched. I will be back in just a day or two, actually, with the next 5 that I watched and am watching. So let's see. On the 16th, I watched a movie called Level 16. On the 17th, I watched Evil Dead. On the 18th, I watched Silence of the Lambs. On the 19th, I don't have my list with me. There are 2 other movies I'm watching. Let me check on my Twitter. I think I have my list up there. The 19th, I'm watching a movie called The Special, which is adapted from a book that James Newman wrote. I'm very excited to see that. And then on the 20th, I'm watching Anaconda, which is on Netflix. And so yeah, I mean, I think it's the 19th today. I'm gonna be editing and filming for the next couple days because I got behind on this. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. That's what I'm going to be up to in the next few days. I will see you in another video very soon. But as always, like, stay spooky, and I hope you're having a great year and staying safe. And wait, why did I mean, like, I hope you're having a great year, but I think this year has not been very great for so many people. Please don't take that as a callous remark. What the fuck? Anyways, stay safe. Goodbye.